when can I start? This is like on a Friday. I guess this is New Year's Eve, and he said, I'm like, all right, when do I need to be there? And he's like, be here Monday. I was like, shoot, let's go. You know what I mean? So, but yeah. So started on the 3rd and been here pretty much ever since.
Josh, there's other ways to spend your New Year's Eve.
I know, right? Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was so excited, just have an opportunity to come here, and this is such a storied program. And growing up in Texas, this is always a place that I've admired forever. Just growing up in the '90s, and my dad was a high school football coach, and so there was nobody that my father respected more, and everybody in my family respected more than Coach Osborne and just the program. And I'm serious now. I mean, growing up in Dallas, Texas, man, like in Saturday nights, man, it wasn't the Longhorns that were on there. It was Nebraska. It truly was, and this place has always been a place that I've always admired from afar, and have known a lot of people, some people that have coached here under previous staffs and whatnot, and everybody just said, if you ever get a chance to go, they say it's just an unbelievable place. And so I'm so excited for for Saturday, Saturday night, you know what I mean, to finally see it. You saw it a little bit in the spring game.
Right.
Saw it a little bit in the spring game, just like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe the support. And then obviously you see the volleyball team, what they did, setting the world record for attendance at a women's event. I mean, what an unbelievable deal. I mean, just Nebraska shows up and shows out, and I couldn't be any more excited to be here and be a part of this university and be a part of this team.
Coach Osborne, usually it comes to some practices. Is it kind of surreal when you just look over your shoulder?
Really
there's Coach Osborne standing over there.
It really is. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's just like I can't believe I'm like just in presence of just one of the greatest coaches of all time. You know what I mean? At any level, at any sport. You know what I mean? He truly is. And when he came and spoke to us, he spoke at our the first time I ever got to meet him. He spoke at our coaches clinic, and to be able to stand up there, I mean, he made his own PowerPoint, and to be able to stand up there for an hour and just talk, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable, and it's just so much. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's just the guy. Coach is just so unbelievable. I mean, obviously for a reason, right? The things that he did and whatnot, and it's great. When Coach comes in, it's like, all right, what can we do better? What do you see? He's awesome.
You have been you've coached at the high school level and you've coached at the college level.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of take people kind of through your career path, because you've been at both. I think you were in high school last fall.
I was, yeah.
That.
Yeah, so it's kind of a crazy story. So, got into coaching. I guess 2011 was my first year. I was a GA at Texas Tech. Then had an opportunity after that. After my first year, kind of worked on the offensive line, defensive line. After my first year, I got a chance to go back to Tarleton State. It was the FCS school, Stephenville, Texas, Division II at the time, and I was able to be the offensive line coach there. I was like 24, 25 years young, right? And so did that for a couple of years. Knew I wanted to get back into college football, like major, Power 5, Division I football, and had a chance to go to Arizona State. And so I started at Arizona State in 2014. I started back as a grad assistant with the O-line. A year went by. About halfway through training camp, we had a coach resign, so very similar situation in some ways of a coach left, and I got hired in his role in 2015, started coaching tight ends, and really never looked back from that point forward. And so coached tight ends 15, 16, and 17 Arizona State, and then was able to get hired back home at SMU in 18, and was there at 18, 19, 20, and 21 there for 4 seasons. And then, when Coach Dykes left to go to TCU, he didn't hire a tight end coach. And so he hired 2 retained both receiver coaches that were there, and just kind of the nature of the business. You know what I mean? It was kind of crazy, right? Kind of a crazy world, just because man, we had a lot of success as a school and an offense, and did a lot of good things, and then not have that opportunity was kind of weird. And so some other opportunities came around, and I didn't really kind of take it. I just wanted to spend a little time with my family, and so. Was able to spend some time at a high school last year at Little Elm High School, but always knew wanted to get back to coaching college football.
How different is it coaching high school kids compared to like here?
Well, it's different in a way, just because some of the juniors and seniors, some of the upperclassmen, it's they take it serious, but sometimes the kids that are 14, 15 years old, they're just out there kind of hanging out, they're here because they're friends or whatever, and so I think that was an adjustment for me. It was just like the care of like the detail and just the overall, like the amount of time that's put in. It's just not the same, you know what I mean? But Texas, 6A high school football in Texas is a big deal. It's a big deal. You know what I mean? And so a lot of people care about it, but coaching's coaching, and I poured into those kids just like I pour into my guys now, and there was no different. Like, we won our first game. Last year we went went into overtime first game. And I was the offense coordinator, was calling the plays there, and we were down by I think 2 or 3 scores at halftime and came back and won the game. And just that win, I mean, just to win that game, we beat another team, but just to that, I mean, I felt no different winning that game than I did any other. You know what I mean? Just winning a big game. And so coaching is coaching. And there's some great relationships. There's some people that I love to death that are great friends and great mentors to me. And I believe God puts you in a place where you're supposed to be. And there was a reason I was there, and I enjoyed my time there, and was certainly glad to get an opportunity to come here, though.
I'm so appreciative of high school coaches because, I mean, those kids are dealing with a lot. I mean, they're trying to figure out what they kind of want to be and what they are.
Sure.
And, I mean, life is coming at them fast when they're 14, 15, 16
there's
years
no doubt.
old.
Yeah, it's so different, too. I mean, I'm not real far removed from that. I mean, it's been several years since I was in high school, but it's so different than when I was there. Totally different, than when I was in high school, right?
Yeah.
It's just, I think, with the phones and the social media, I mean, there was no, I got a cell phone, I guess, when I turned 16 and got my got my driver's license or whatever. But you still couldn't even text people at that time. I remember I was in high school. My dad came home and was like, "Hey, they just sent me a text message. Why would you text? Why would you just call me?" You know what I mean? It's like funny how the world has evolved. Right now, these kids are on TikTok and doing all this crazy stuff. So, but yeah, no, it was a unique experience getting to do that. But I was certainly, and I learned a lot. I think you become a much better coach when you deal with different, just different levels of, of skill and understanding and whatnot. And you can't, it made me kind of adjust and evolve. And, you can't do as much stuff, and you have to keep it really, really simple. You know what I mean? And, what can the kids execute and what can they do? So I learned a lot. I truly did. I learned a lot in that time that I was at Little Elm High School.
That's great. Hey, folks, learn how you can earn up to $250 more per acre when you grow value-added grain by visiting cvacoop.com. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation. We're talking to Huskers tight ends coach Josh Martin. Just got the job late July, right before camp opened. So you had been around the team since January, so you probably knew the guys in the room that you're now coaching. I don't know how well you knew them, but what's the room like?
Well, it's a good room. It's a young room. It is a young room. There's not a senior in the room. And Nate Borkitzer, I guess next year could technically be a senior, but he's really not. He's got a COVID year, so he technically has 2 years left. And so, but the room has got there's a ton of talent in there. There's not a, they don't have a lot of experience. And so the only way that you get better at football, at any position, is playing football. And so to get those first 2 games, get a tough training camp under their belt, for Thomas and Nate, Janarian Bonner, Luke Lindenmeyer, Jake Applegate, all those guys to get some playing time and get that underneath their belt. I think you really started to see a jump this week. Like last week, you could really start to see it with Nate. This week, you could really start to see it with Thomas. They had a really good practice today. And just continuing to build and stack success in that room. Janarian Bonner, same thing, right? Is really starting to come on and do some good things for us, right? And it's a very versatile room. These guys can all do a lot of different things. They can block. They can. They can run routes. They can do a lot of pass protect. There's a lot of different things that we ask those guys to do, and it takes a little bit of time, right? It takes a little bit of time, but those guys we're going to have a chance to have a really good room by the end of the year.
You mentioned Jake. He was playing defense a year ago.
Yeah.
That's one of the transitions you guys as a staff made. How's he kind of fitting into that role?
Yeah, no, he's doing well. Yeah, Jake's kind of one of those guys. He can do a little bit of everything. He can block in line. He can block off the ball. He can run routes. He's athletic. He's got good hands. And I think the one thing about Jake and the rest of those guys is how much they truly do care. Like I was sprinting out of my meeting to come to the meeting here. And those guys they're still in there going back through the tape. Those guys really, the level of care, not just from them, but just our whole team in general. I've never seen anything like it before. The culture that we're building here and the culture that we have, these guys they want to win, and they're really taking it hard. Okay, what is it? What do I have to do to be a good football player? What do I have to do to help us win? Okay, I'm going to do it. Right, I'm going to dive in and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to spend. And they're always in our offices, right? You can go down the hall, you can go to Coach Raella's office, man. There's always offensive linemen there. You go to Coach McGuire's office, man. There's always receivers in there, right? The quarterbacks are always. They're just our guys are constantly around the office, right? And so that's how you obviously you develop relationships with guys, but they're always what can I do? how can I do this better? What can I do here? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? You know what I mean? So there really is there's really been a big impact and a really big buy-in on these guys. So.
Good. Text for you. Red from Alliance says, we need to get Fedoni going. How's he and the other tight ends doing? Go Big Red.
Good, yeah. So, I think with time, as time progresses on, I think we'll see, more and more of those things. I mean, sometimes the coverage, can dictate things and take, guys away in the passing game at times. And sometimes you see, guys will be more open. But I feel like as the season goes along, historically, I think with players that I've coached and whatnot, and I think just in general too, the tight end position is utilized more and more and more in the passing game as the season progresses on. As it starts to get a little bit colder, people start to get injured, people start stepping up, and that's when it starts to get colder. You start, there's a little more play action, there's a little more, a few more things that tight ends can, get open a little bit more, and but we just kind of take what the defense gives us, and I feel like Thomas has got a really bright future along with Nate. Nate caught that first third down the other day, right? Caught that dig on that, it was third and long, right? Caught that, beautiful, Jeff did a great job coming backside and, hit the dig and, we're able to run for a little bit. And so I really feel like as the season progresses, though, I feel like it'll just continue to climb and just get better and better.
Players need something positive to happen to kind of keep them going. And I thought Thomas making the catch basically in the final play of the game might just do wonders for him. Does that make okay? That works. Okay, now I know what I got to go sit down on a route or whatever I have to do to make things happen. So hopefully that really kicks him going.
Sure. Yeah. I think even more so than the touchdown, I think was, it was a third down, and he caught a really tough contested ball. That he really didn't go compete for it. Would have probably had a chance to be picked, right? But truly a contested football, and was able to just go physically take it away from another man. Everybody just, you could just hear on the side, even from the, so close, right? You see people in the stand, ooh, it was a nice snag, and so I feel like that just really maybe kind of gave me a little confidence, and just playing football, right? Just the more you play, the better you feel, and the more confident you have that you can go make those type of plays, right? And I think it showed up today at practice. Like he probably had his best practice that he's had since I've been here for sure.
Do you think, because he's been, doggone it, he's had so many injury problems. Do you think he trusts his body yet? Do you think he's now just playing and not thinking about, is this leg going to hold, is that knee going to hold?
I do. Yeah, I sure do. Yeah, I really do. I feel like he's he really, like he told me, he's like, man, I'm feeling like he's such a, he wants to be so good, right? Yep. And he's so hard on himself, and he's really, that's one of the things we've really been working on so much is like, man, just play the next play, right? Just play the next play, play the next play, play the next play. And I feel like that is starting to fade away a little bit of like maybe the worry about everything else, and just like, I'm going to go do my job and go make a play. I'm going to just do it to the very best of my ability. I'm going to go win the rep. You know what I mean? And I feel like this, again, the more reps he takes, the better he's going to get. Same with all those guys, right? Same with Nate, same with Janarian, same with Jake and Luke and all those guys.
Coach Martin with us till the top of the hour. Husker tight ends coach. We're talking some football about the Big Red as they get ready for the Northern Illinois Huskies coming up on Saturday night. 402-413-2400. That's the number if you want to fire off a text for the coach. That is our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline. Woodhouse is your trusted auto partner with 20 brands, 20 convenient sales, and service locations. We're making car buying on your terms. Visit us online at woodhouse.com. More with the coach coming up.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The thoughtfully redesigned 2023 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. It'll get you off the beaten path with up to 9.5 inches of ground clearance, more than Honda CR-V or Toyota RAV4. The 2023 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Comparison based on competitor information from manufacturer websites as of June 2022. Duteau Subaru in Lincoln and DuteauSubaru.com.
Every day, Central Valley Ag works with our farmers to feed a hungry planet. Partner with a team who knows the entire roadmap, equipped with local expertise and proven products. Get your seed recommendations with CVA's Go Early Seed Program. Register to win $7,000 off a seed box purchase when you visit CVACoop.com. There's room at the table. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
There's no community like a Cenex community, and that's why every Cenex store is so proud to serve theirs by supporting local athletic teams, promoting the arts, and making sure each store is a place its neighbors can find what they need, catch up with their friends, and stay connected. It's also why we give back helping to make the wonderful places we call home the best they can be. Your local Cenex doesn't just work in your town, it lives there. The store next door, powered locally at Cenex.
There's a call on the field for a quality seed specific to where you farm. Make the right call with Prairie Valley. With local research in 8 regions throughout Nebraska, Prairie Valley performs with their locally specific hybrids and varieties while achieving the highest quality and yield. No matter where you farm in Nebraska, Prairie Valley has the seed for where you are. Find a local dealer and learn more about the seed for where you are at prairievalleyseeds.com.
I'm Ty Burrell, actor and small business owner. I'm going to show you my steps for making the perfect radio ad. This one's about innovation refunds and the ERC. First step, be relatable. I like pizza and puppies. 2, cold hard info. The ERC is a tax credit for eligible businesses that kept employees on payroll in 2020 and 2021. So if you qualify, Innovation Refunds Network of Independent Tax Attorneys could help you claim it. 3, go to innovationrefunds.com or call 1-843-REFUNDS.
Innovation Refunds does not provide tax or legal advice. We work with an independent network of tax professionals. Terms and conditions apply. Ty is a paid spokesman.
To win the game, you got to have more strength. You got to be tougher. You got to be reliable. You got to want it more than the other guy. And you need a great team you can count on, backing you up the whole time. Whether it's in the field with your Massey Ferguson or on the field with the Huskers, red is the color of getting it done quicker, smarter, and efficiently. So this season, make sure you're checking out the lineup that'll get more done where and when it counts. From your Nebraska Massey Ferguson dealers.
More Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic care first. Studies show that chiropractic is safe, drug-free, and the most effective treatment option for back, neck, and joint pain. It can also help patients of all ages reduce migraines, improve mobility, and maximize athletic performance. Keep the entire family healthy and active with natural, cost-effective chiropractic care. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Woodhouse Chevy is making car buying better, now with 2 convenient locations in Missouri Valley, Iowa, and our newest location in Omaha at 112th and Dodge. Plus, going on now, receive up to $6,000 off MSRP on the 2023 Chevy Silverado. Visit us in-store or online anytime to shop our current offers and inventory. Find new roads with Woodhouse Chevy in Missouri Valley and now in Omaha. With Blue Credit, see dealer for details. Offer expires 7/31/2023.
Get ready to rule the field and revolutionize your farming game with Valley, the game changer in irrigation and ag tech solutions. With time and labor-saving measures, ground truthing results, and effective input reduction, Valley provides the perfect game plan so you stay ahead of what's in the field. From the best in irrigation and cutting-edge ag tech solutions to personalized support, Valley is your winning team. Visit your local Valley dealer or valleyirrigation.com today.
As a fan, you wear your jersey on your back and your heart on your sleeve. There's a place for people like you. The Cox Fan Zone. Play NFL Pick'em and Collegiate Pick'em for a chance to win a $100 Visa gift card each week, or even a $500 Visa gift card grand prize.
Hey, Husker fans, this is Greg Sharpe. Say Fan Zone in your Contour voice remote to play. Not at home? Visit cox.com/fanzone. Go Big Red.
There are a lot of rates out there, and it can be tough to find the right one. Well, let's make it easy. With FNBO's special offer CD of 5.5% APY for 7 or 17 months, you can earn more, save more, and do more. That's 5.5% annual percentage yield for 7 or 17 months at your nearest FNBO location, with a minimum deposit of $500 and an FNBO Premier checking account. So stop on by and give your savings a great big boost with the Great Big Small Bank. FNBO, member FDIC.
Kids eat free in September at Wahlburgers at Hy-Vee to celebrate National Family Meals Month. That's right, get a free kids meal with the purchase of an adult entree. Kids 12 and under can choose from favorites like a burger and fries, grilled cheese, chicken tenders, and more. Bring the family together. Dine in at Wahlburgers at Hy-Vee and get a free kids meal with the purchase of an adult entree every day in September.
Dine in only. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres. They are the Midwest's premier John Deere dealers, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. It's our football show for the week. Delighted to be joined by tight ends coach Josh Martin. Before I get too far away, how was dorm life for you a month ago? What was that like for you?
It's been a while since I've been in a dorm, man. That's kind of funny you asked me. I'd kind of forgotten about it. I tried to forget about it. I didn't really spend a whole lot of time there, I really just kind of slept there. So it was, I never really saw it in the daylight, to be honest with you. So I got there at midnight and, left at about 5. So I spent about, 5 hours a night there, I guess. So it wasn't I didn't spend a whole lot of time in the dorm, but it was fine. It really was. It was fine. I never, I never even, I had my toothbrush, I had all my stuff here, and I literally went home. I went back to the dorm and.
Did you walk
just
back
got
and forth?
I drove. Yeah, I drove.
Oh, you
back.
drove?
Yeah,
okay.
I drove. Yeah, I went over there and drove back and forth. Right, but it was fine. It wasn't a big deal. It was a place to rest my head. But I would say at that time there was just so much going on. It was like, I felt like I could literally not even sleep. Right, if I could stay awake for a month, I could stay awake from a month. There's so much work to do. Just getting in so late. But the dorm was fine. It was really good to do that with the players, though. I think that's as much for the players as anything, right? Just to spend that time together, the camaraderie and the brotherhood that you really, truly, get to build during that time. As far as that, when practice is over, everybody going their separate ways. To be able to stay in a dorm is huge and beneficial for a team.
Well, I know you said you sprinted down from your office. You guys are still here in North Stadium. You have not transitioned yet over there.
Correct.
The players have with the locker room, and I'm told it's pretty ridiculous.
It's unreal. Yeah, it's unreal. It's like when you go into the locker room and you see it looks like a daggum spa in there. It's like got these pools and stuff everywhere, all these like all these tanks and all this like just crazy, all these crazy, things for recovery and stuff. And that's one of the biggest things that we believe in here, is the recovery phase. And our guys are so bought into that, and they have the sleep pods and the therapy tanks and all. I don't even know half the stuff that's in there, but I was walking through the other day. Garrett and I were walking in the other day. I was like, man, I got to start taking it. I can go sit in this hot tub. Right? I can go sit in this sauna, go sit in this cold tub, you know what I mean? So I got to start taking advantage of that. So I got to carve out a little bit of time for myself, I guess. But yeah, it's unreal. It's amazing. The people, they did it so right. They did it so right. It's so first class. It really is. It's unbelievable.
Great to hear. It should be a nice little recruiting tool, too.
Oh, no doubt. I can't wait to move over there full time.
Yeah. Folks, contact 811 2 days before you dig to protect your underground utilities and yourself. It's free. It's easy. It's the law. Tim and Kearney, a text for you, Coach. He said, I would love to see the tight ends getting more involved with catching passes, stretching the defense. Go Big Red. That's news to a tight ends coach's ears. And you guys in your room like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's right. Those guys would probably second that. No, we've got a good plan each week, and I think you're still finding, being so new to a program, right, and only 2 games in, right, going on to game 3, you're still trying to figure your identity, right, and kind of, who you are a little bit, and I mean, and you have an idea, right, but as time progresses and we get through and we continue to go through the season, I think we'll really see those guys continue to show up more and more, or at least I hope so. But we're really, we feel like in our offensive scheme that the throws and the catches will come for those guys. We won't have to we have to just go truly dial one up for, somebody, whatnot. We feel like it'll happen within the course of the offense.
If the stats are right, that's a big if sometimes. Tight ends were targeted 8 times last week, and he had 4 catches. Thomas had 2, and Nate had 2 catches in that game as well. Nate, I love talking about Nate Borkature, kid that was a walk-on into the program, has earned himself a scholarship, hard worker. What am I missing? It seems like he's almost too perfect.
Smart, tough, loyal. You named it, man. He's awesome. He's awesome. He's a much better route runner, I feel like, than what people give him credit for. He caught, like I said, he caught that dig on the first third down. But I think the world of Nate. He's just so intent in how he goes about his business, and he's tough, and he loves football, loves to compete. Constantly wants to get better, and those guys. He brings out the best of those guys in that room, and they bring out the best in him. And he's a fun guy to coach, because it's like, coach me, coach. Like, what can I do? How can I improve? What can I do to be the best player that I can be? And the best way to help the team improve is to improve yourself, right? And so he's bought into that and knows that, and he's awesome. There's a special place in my heart, obviously, for guys that walked on and did it the hard way, and come and play. What a cool story that is, And there's a lot of guys like that in that room. I mean, shoot, Luke was the same way, and Jake and all those guys, right? And so, all potentially be really good players. And there's some young guys in that room, that have a chance to be really good players at some point, that just came in as freshmen, that came and walked on. And it's just the development, right? How hard are you willing to work? And, they've got the talent and the tools, and let's go put it all together, And sometimes it takes them a couple of years, and sometimes it takes them, 4 or 5 years. But, Nate's a testament to believing in yourself and hard work and dedication and all that stuff. So proud of him.
Josh, the walk-on program is so near and dear to the heart of all the fans because it's been such a huge part of this program. Nate Borkacher graduates up, gets him a scholarship, and now Luke Lindemeyer is a walk-on to this program. And what has he done to earn your trust and some playing time out of this?
Yeah, well, the first thing about Luke is he's really, really smart. He's a very versatile guy. He's very, very versatile. He's a guy that you can kind of plug and play wherever, and so he can play. He truly is like a real tight end because he can kind of do it all, right? He can play. He's really good at playing off the ball. He plays with great leverage. He's a good route runner. He's just a guy that I trust him to put him in a lot of different places because I know that he's gonna do the right thing and he's gonna get it done. Right? He's gonna play with the right leverage, the right technique, and he's gonna come off the ball and he's gonna he can do a lot of things for us. And this year and I think moving forward in the future. I mean, shoot, he's a young player. I mean, I think he just turned 19 the other day. Yeah, he had his birthday like a week ago, 10 days ago, whatever it was. And but yeah, I mean, the future's really bright for Luke.
All right, I'm going to ask you about a guy that's not in your room, but we see him in jumbo packages, and that's Justin Evans-Jenkins.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I love that little wrinkle you guys have had. We've seen both at Minnesota and the Colorado game.
Yep.
I know he's not a tight end, but he kind of comes out and does some of that stuff.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. No, Justin's, I think anytime that, we always think like, players over plays, right? And what can we do to, Coach is big on this, like what can we do to, get our best personnel on the field, And I think when you throw multiple personnel groupings at, defenses and stuff, it makes it hard to prepare for, I think, at times. And, he's a guy that, Justin's a guy that, like I said, is a versatile guy and just an extra, body and edge, that maybe some of the guys in my room don't have. I mean, none of my guys are, 300 pounds and have the, quite the same, power as him. And so, but, Justin's a guy that he's definitely been able to come in and help our team, help our run game, and we've gotten into some of those situations, especially in the, late in the third and the fourth quarter, at Minnesota game 1, and then, early in the game last week, and he come in and really, truly set an edge and knock some people off the ball. So I've been proud of him. And then also I work with the, kind of the special teams background, right? He's, one of our starting shields, our personal protector, right? So I get to spend a lot of time with him as well, in the special teams and the punt, portion of practice as well. So I've got to develop a pretty good relationship with him. So he's an awesome guy, and I can't say enough good things about Justin.
Cool. Good stuff there.
Yeah.
Folks, buckle up, put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Time for this week's featured Husker alum, brought to you by our Alumni Hall. Great sponsor here on the Huskers Radio Network. This week we focus in on a wide receiver that played at Nebraska last year and caught his first NFL touchdown pass on Sunday. It's Trey Palmer. 1st and 10, Huskers at their own 13. Borkacher in motion. From the right to the left of the formation, play action. Roy in the pocket is Casey. Taking a shot deep downfield, looking for Palmer, makes a catch at the 40. He's going to go 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Nebraska. Trey Palmer, big game against Iowa to end last season. Caught a pass for the Bucs the other day against the Vikings in their victory up in Minneapolis. Alumni Hall is your ultimate Husker shopping experience with the largest and best selection of apparel, vault gear, and tailgate accessories. Shop their 2 Lincoln locations or alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, where Huskers shop. Keep those texts coming, 402-413-2400. We've got more with Coach Martin coming up next.
Day by Day is the new documentary about Tom Osborne and the Nebraska Cornhuskers' decade-long pursuit of a national championship. Featuring interviews with former players and coaches, as well as famous fans like Peyton and Archie Manning, Larry the Cable Guy, and numerous NCAA and NFL legends. Day by Day is the riveting, untold story of one of the most dominant, celebrated, and controversial football teams ever. Now available on demand.
There's a call on the field for a quality seed specific to where you farm. Make the right call with Prairie Valley. With local research in 8 regions throughout Nebraska, Prairie Valley performs with their locally specific hybrids and varieties while achieving the highest quality and yield. No matter where you farm in Nebraska, Prairie Valley has the seed for where you are. Find a local dealer and learn more about the seed for where you are at prairievalleyseeds.com.
Get ready again for some Nebraska farm facts. When there's work to be done, Nebraska soybeans are on the job in many of your everyday products. In fact, Nebraska soybeans are hard at work in Goodyear tires, Ford cars and trucks, Skechers shoes, asphalt, fuels, lubricants, name brand paints and stains, and more. Soybeans are an innovative replacement for petroleum, leading to more sustainable products all over the world. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
Greetings, human neighbor. Hey, Zendar. I brought you a little gift for suggesting Nebraska Pick 5 from the Nebraska Lottery. It's a great game.
Affirmative. Since the Pick 5 jackpot grows by $10,000 each time it is not won, your enthusiasm is logical. However, no gratuity is required.
You sure? It's 10 gallons of wiper fluid.
I have reconsidered. Would you care to help Marlex and I consume it?
No, I'm good.
Nebraska Pick 5 top prize odds 1 in 658,000.
America, it's time to gear up and get out there in a new Ford vehicle. And it all starts at your local Ford dealer during the Discover Summer Sales Event. Choose from a great selection of trucks and SUVs equipped with the tech and comfort you need to discover your best summer ever. With a large inventory in stock, now is the best time to trade in, trade up, and discover summer with Ford. Now get 3.9% financing for 66 months plus up to $3,750 bonus cash on F-150 and F-150 Lightning. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
At Groundworks, we take great pride in helping our Nebraska neighbors keep their homes healthy. From repairing foundations to waterproofing basements to fixing crawl spaces or lifting concrete driveways. We'd like to think our customers choose us because of our attention to detail or the fact that we're the nation's leading foundation solutions provider. What gives our customers the most comfort is we're right here in Nebraska. Visit groundworks.com for a free estimate. Groundworks. Foundation solutions crafted with pride. The official foundation company of the Huskers.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers, you ready for some SUV action? Toyota SUVs can roll their sleeves up for tight turns and twisty trails, dress up for a night out on the town, or head to the great outdoors. Take your family adventure game to a whole new level with the roomy Highlander. Make a serious splash with the rugged, revved-up RAV4. And tow all your toys in the spacious new Sequoia. Don't forget the Trail-Tamin 4Runner and the sleek Venza Hybrid. All Toyota SUVs feature a whole suite of creature comforts to keep you and yours cozy in the cabin. Check out this legendary lineup at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
What's colder than the coldest? A polar bear. I have reports of a polar bear on the loose. Man, is it cold enough for a polar bear in here?
Yes, we use SOS. Come on in.
SOS to the rescue! Nebraska defensive lineman Nash Hubbard here. People know me as the polar bear, and when I want to stay cool, I call SOS. Their techs don't make commissions, so they give you an honest opinion, fair pricing, and longer warranties than the competition, guaranteed. Mention the polar bear and get a free 10-year labor warranty on New York equipment. The best warranty you got.
Noddle Companies is proud to support Husker Athletics. As a leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Sunnyside Exarban, and row house townhomes on Leavenworth. Noddle Companies is adding Omaha's first hybrid timber building to the skyline. Soon to follow is Builders Green Park, surrounded by mouth-watering food, exciting retail, and a hub of thriving businesses. Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Go Huskers!
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
It's more powerful than the legendary Husker option offense.
more powerful than the black shirt defense. It's the sun, and you can harness its power with JTech Solar. JTech, the official solar energy experts of the Huskers, can help you shrink your energy bills and start saving money now. Solar power is clean, affordable, and it's dependable because the sun always shines on the Huskers. JTech Solar for your home, business, or agriculture energy needs. Visit jtechsolar.com.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres, the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres Solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe with you tonight on our football show. Delighted to be joined by Josh Martin, Husker tight ends coach. The start has not been what anybody wanted. How have the guys kind of shaken that off? What's been the attitude around the office this week?
Great. It's been really good. Really good. It's just win the rep. What can I do to get better? Look at yourself. And then just like Coach talked about this week, like double down on the process. Like the process, there's guys that are playing really good football right now. We haven't put it together as a team yet, right? I haven't put it together in some ways offensively yet. You know what I mean? Especially, but we double down on the process. There's a lot of guys that are playing good football on offense, defense, special teams right now, and the reason they did that is because of the work that they put in throughout the spring, throughout the summer, throughout training camp, the way that they're practicing, the way they're going about the way they're handling meetings, the way they're preparing, and just continue. You don't revert back to something, to something different, right? Let's double down, and let's just say, this is what it's going to take, and I'm just going to continue to do it, right? And I'm going to do it better. You know what I mean? So that's really what this week has been like, and we had a great practice today. We really did. We had a really good practice. It was guys got after today, flew around, and sometimes you worry about, they're going to go out here and mope around. What's it going to be like? And man, there was none of that. This is a good practice team, man. I really do. These guys we're close, and I think they see it. You know what I mean? I really do. I think they see that we're close. We're close to put it together, and let's go put it together.
This football, a lot of times games are decided by 3 or 4 plays. And I think that's kind of a case even last week with Colorado, even though the final score may not indicate 100%. That. But there were 3 or 4 plays that if they don't go the way they did, that game's completely different, right?
Yeah, no doubt. No question. No question. Yeah, you say it all the time, right? You said it, right? But there's several plays that, you can usually count on one hand what they are, right? Yeah. How many of them there are that come up that change the course of a game. And it's maybe an explosive play. It may be a turnover, it may be whatever it may be, right? But a lot of times, Coach talks about this too. There may be something that happens on a Wednesday practice, right? That will show itself that we'll either correct it and that'll help us either win the game or it won't. And we'll lose the game. There's something that there's something you can take from each week throughout practice and stuff. So there's no question about it.
Art in Los Angeles for you, Coach. Ask Josh who he looks up to and who's his favorite NFL player is.
Who I look up to, I for sure, my father's my greatest mentor for sure.
And he was a coach.
He was a coach, yep. Yeah, he definitely was a coach. My father is definitely somebody I for sure look up to. Another guy that is a huge mentor of mine, his name is Chris Thompson. He's actually the tight end coach of Florida State, but he's
they've gotten off to a good start.
They have, yeah. Got off to a really good start. We text quite a bit. He's a really good friend of mine. He was actually the O-line coach at ASU when I was there. And just one of the greatest people in the whole world, and just a really, really good man and a really good football coach. And then, my favorite NFL player, man, maybe of all time. I'm a Cowboys fan. I've always liked, but I have always liked Brett Favre. I was a big Brett Favre fan growing up. Obviously Troy Aikman. I kind of grew up in the '90s when the Cowboys were killing it stuff. So loved Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin and all those guys and whatnot. So. Probably one of the Cowboys, I would imagine. But yeah, if I had to say not a Cowboy, I would probably say I was a big I like just the way he played the game and just would go about and then from a tight end perspective, man, I was a big Gronkowski fan. I love how he played the game. He played big all the time. And as the years progressed and he got older, right, he wasn't as fast and couldn't separate as well. Just using straight speed, and so he just got to be more of a savvy vet, right? The way he could control his body and just find contact and separate on routes and stuff, was a really savvy football player. Jason Witten was the same way. I actually had a chance to sit down. He coaches at a high school in the DFW area, and so I had an opportunity to go sit down with him. I actually sat with him in a meeting. Went to go one of their OTAs in like May or June, whenever it was, a couple of years back, when he was still playing for the Cowboys. Got a chance to go sit in that position meeting and just sit next to him, and it was a really cool experience at that. I was coaching at another place, but really cool experience to sitting there and just be able to kind of talk to a guy who was a first ballot Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? It's a pretty cool deal. So
Gronk played with kind of a certain joy about it.
He did, yeah.
I really enjoy players who you kind of feel like he loves playing.
He loves football. I know, right? Well, that's one of the main things that I look for in recruiting, right? Is I want a guy that truly loves football, right? Not a guy that loves recruiting. Like, I want a guy that loves football. The guy that enjoys the process, right? We talk about all the time, right? He enjoys. He likes to go to practice, right? He likes to lift weights. He likes to watch film, right? He's a football junkie, right? Like, that's the type of guys that you want, in your program. And as many of those as you can get, the better you'll be, And so that's one of the main things I want to find out. One of the first things I find out in recruiting is, like, does this kid love football? And if he does, then he'll have a chance to be a really good player. And if he doesn't, then, it'll be a struggle, right? Because if you don't love football, the time investment of this stuff is, there's a lot of time invested in it, right? Like, if I didn't love football, right, I'd be miserable, right? I work 100 hours a week, you know what I mean? But I love football, right? I love competing at the highest level, and I'm certainly grateful to be here. But yeah, you definitely, if you love football, that's one of the reasons for sure. I love Gronk, no question.
You mentioned Favre. Jordan Love started at quarterback for them this week with Rodgers off to New York. And sad to hear Rodgers.
Man, I know, that's horrible. I hated that.
But Love was only the third starting quarterback for the Packers organization to start opening day since 1993 because Favre had the long run and then Rodgers had that. That's something.
That is crazy. There's a similar stat, something with the Steelers with Tomlin. He's a head coach, and I don't remember the exactly
how before him.
Yeah, and then before that,
Chuck Noll?
Yeah, it was Chuck Noll. It's like they've had 3 coaches in like however many, 50 years. That's just so, the coaching, it's such a carousel, right? It's just so unique and it's just crazy to think about,
Good stuff. Hey, Woodhouse Auto Family is your trusted auto partner with 20 brands, 20 convenient sales and service locations. We're making car buying on your terms. Visit us online at woodhouse.com. 402-413-2400. Just a couple minutes left with Coach Martin. We're back to do that next.
Innovation Refunds does not provide tax or legal advice. We work with an independent network of tax professionals and will share information with them to evaluate and process your claims. Terms and conditions apply. Ty is a paid spokesman.
I'm Ty Burrell, actor and small business owner. You can trust Innovation Refunds with your small business's ERC claim because of their SOC 2 Type 1 security compliance. Without this, how can you be sure a company can protect your information? It's not like here on the radio, where all you need to be secure is a censor button. My password to my bank account is Ty's cool password 1. Uh-oh. Luckily, Innovation Refunds is more reliable. Go to innovationrefunds.com or call 1-843-REFUNDS to get started.
There's a call on the field for a quality seed specific to where you farm. Make the right call with Prairie Valley. With local research in 8 regions throughout Nebraska, Prairie Valley performs with their locally specific hybrids and varieties while achieving the highest quality and yield. No matter where you farm in Nebraska, Prairie Valley has the seed for where you are. Find a local dealer and learn more about the seed for where you are at prairievalleyseeds.com.
Discover your next Ford with Woodhouse. The truck you've always wanted to the SUV you need, Woodhouse has the full lineup. Plus a huge selection guarantees you'll get the features that matter and at a smart price. Like our current offer on a new Ford F-150. Or needing the versatility of an SUV to take on the everyday. Shop our offers going on now. Find your Ford with Woodhouse online or at one of our 3 convenient locations.
For farmers, productivity isn't an option, it's everything. And at Valley, we feel the same, delivering game-changing technology and irrigation solutions that advance agricultural productivity, with the results to prove it. From our leading irrigation technology to expert advice, you can always rely on Valley to bring out the best in your farm. At Valley, productivity isn't an option, it's everything. Visit your local Valley dealer or valleyirrigation.com today.
That's my neighbor, Joe. Hey, Joe.
Hey, John.
Joe's about to make a big mistake. Hey, Joe, think it might be a good idea to call 811 to have the utilities marked before you start digging?
I'm not digging very deep. It's no big deal.
No big deal.
Dad, the TV's out. Internet, too.
Remember, safe digging always starts with a free call to 811. Oh, what a knucklehead.
Brought to you by Nebraska 811.
Husker fans, your soccer team opens conference play this Friday, September 15th at 7:05 p.m. when the Wisconsin Badgers come to town. You're not going to want to miss this one. Your Huskers are scoring almost 4 goals per game. And don't leave your dogs at home. Bring them with you for Pups at the Pitch. The first 400 fans will get a collapsible dog bowl. To buy tickets and for more information, go to huskers.com/tickets or call 1-800-8-BIG-RED.
Dorothy Lynch, home-style light and lean dressing, endless flavorabilities. Final few minutes of our football show for the week. Josh Martin, Husker tight ends coach, with us for about 5 more minutes. Still time if you want to slip a text question in at 402-413-2400. All right, let's turn the page. This week it's Northern Illinois. The Husker fans, remember, they've come here in the past and won a game. They're 1-1. Nice win against BC and lost last week to Southern Illinois. Give me kind of a thumbnail about their defense.
So really good defense. I think the strength of their defense is up front in their front seven. They play a lot of guys on the defensive line and will rotate quite a few guys. And they've got some guys with some length and some guys that can really control the line of scrimmage at the point of attack, and it'll be a good challenge for us. So they're primarily a 4-down front team, and we're used to seeing kind of every defense in the world from from Coach White and what our defense does. So there's really not many things that we haven't seen, offensively. You know what I mean? But they're a very formidable opponent, and obviously, it doesn't matter who you play, right? The process is the process, right? And then, everybody you play is, you take it all. Every game is the same as far as what your preparation on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are like. And I think they're very well coached, and they've got a good scheme, do a good job.
Doesn't say Minnesota, doesn't say Colorado, but I'm sure there's enough on tape for your guys to go, all right. Got to take them serious.
Oh, no question. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you only get 12 of these opportunities a year guaranteed, right? So, I don't know how anybody couldn't take any game seriously, right? No matter who you're playing, So, but it's week 3, and the goal is to go 1-0, and so you just got to go have a great practice each and every week, and or each and every day of the week, and prepare yourself to go play well Saturday, earn the right to go win on Saturday, and. We started off well today and had a good first day, and but yeah, we're definitely looking forward to get back out in Memorial Stadium and going to compete, man. It's gonna be a fun atmosphere and be a lot of fun.
I bet. Game 1, I look out there and all of a sudden here's 10 running around and catching a pass. Heinrich Harburg catching a pass.
Yeah,
heck of an athlete. I mean, Heinrich can do a lot of different things, right?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, no question. Right. Well, the same deal. We kind of talked about it earlier, right? We just say find our best personnel and put them on the field, right? Someone that can. That can make a play and can do some things. And so I think that, Coach Rule's so good about that and just creative in ways that, he's always looking for finding traits of guys that can do things, at a high level and can help us win, And so he caught had a nice catch, had a first down, had a long run after catch, and I guess that was maybe the second quarter, whatever it was, against Minnesota. So, yeah, can definitely do a lot of things. Yeah, there's no question.
Yeah, and I thought he didn't look like the moment was too big when he came into the game the other day. I mean,
not at all.
He didn't play perfect. He made some mistakes, but he ran hard. He put the ball in the money there for Thomas for the touchdown. It was good.
Yeah, I think what I respected the most about him was being able to step into that moment and, to get hit, and step in there and complete the ball, throw the ball, right? Not being like he didn't let the rush or didn't let any of that stuff affect him at times, And I was proud of how he played. Man, he showed up, and I felt, had a lot of, you never know how a quarterback's going to play until they get into it. You truly get into a game, in a game setting, and he really stepped up and, did a nice job for us. So I was proud of how he performed and how he handled himself.
I mentioned this to you in the break that media people all make a big deal about playing in that high altitude in Boulder. That didn't seem to affect the Huskers at all. Yeah. There was no cramping in Minnesota the week 1. I mean, this looks like a really well-conditioned team.
We are, yes. Yeah, that's a testament to how we practice. I've been in other places and, I've worked with other coaches before. I've never seen anything quite like this before, and how we practice and how we go about doing things here. And so I think a lot of it's a testament to Corey Campbell and the strength staff and how they handle things and how we run things and the programs that we have and with Kristen and nutrition. I mean, it's just a collective. It's just a culmination of a lot of different everybody in the organization, right? And getting our guys to go perform at a high level on Saturdays. It's not just the coaches or just the strength guys or the players have to buy in, right? They have to do. We talk all week about hydrating, right? It was a deal on. Monday it was like, hey, we start hydrating, right? And so that was a big deal all week, right? You kind of say it ad nauseum a little bit. They're like, Coach, I got you, right? But they carry those gallon jugs around everywhere. Everywhere they go is gallon water jugs, and it's an expectation for them to have it everywhere. When they go to class, they're supposed to have it, But
I see them all walking
They did a good
by
job.
here.
Yeah, they did a great job all week of taking care of their bodies, right? The recovery phase of it, they're so bought into that and understand the, understand the science behind it, and truly believe in it.
Where are you on game days? Are you down?
I'm down. Yes.
You're down.
Yep, I'm down.
Okay.
Yep, so.
You like being down there?
I do. Yeah, I do enjoy being down there. Yeah, I certainly do. I like being around just being around the guys and being able to coach them when they come off on the, on the side instead of them having to go to the phone and talk to the press box. I definitely enjoy being down.
Well, Josh, I enjoyed this. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you so much.
Let's go beat the Huskies on Saturday night.
Let's go 1-0.
Perfect. Josh Martin with us here on our Nebraska football show here tonight. Hey, Woodhouse Auto Family, they are your trusted auto partner with 20 brands, 20 convenient sales and service locations. We're making car buying on your term. Visit us online at woodhouse.com. All right, that'll do it for Sports Nightly tonight. We've got Husker volleyball top 5 matchup out in Palo Alto, Nebraska and Stanford. John Vader, Lauren Cook-West standing by. Their pregame coming up in just a couple of minutes.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm broadcasting student Ann Gallagher with Campus News. 26 Husker students presented research findings on nuclear deterrence to a panel of U.S. Strategic Command officials at STRATCOM headquarters in Bellevue. The student-led presentation was the culmination of a semester of STRATCOM-guided research and the latest in a years-long partnership between STRATCOM and the National Security Studies program at Nebraska.
For farmers, productivity isn't an option, it's everything. And at Valley, we feel the same, delivering game-changing technology and irrigation solutions that advance agricultural productivity, with the results to prove it. From our leading irrigation technology to expert advice, you can always rely on Valley to bring out the best in your farm. At Valley, productivity isn't an option, it's everything. Visit your local Valley dealer or valleyirrigation.com today.
Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram & Blair is your trusted auto partner with savings on Ram models to fit your lifestyle. During the Make This the Summer sales event, get $9,424 off MSRP on a new Ram 1500 Quad Cab Warlock or $8,746 off MSRP on a 2023 Ram 1500 Crew Cab Bighorn. Built for summer adventures with massive towing and hauling capability and 4 legendary engines to choose from. Serving the Metro since 1991, this is Woodhouse. With approved credit, tax, title, license extra. $299 doc fee to its sign. When financed with Chrysler Capital. Offer expires 7/31/2023. See dealer for details.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it.